So big change for me in terms of story from last week's.
Hello and welcome to the Time Space Visualizer.
Oh yeah, that's it. Hi guys. As I say, big step up from Dot and Bubble in terms of story.
Yeah, I think I enjoyed. We're reviewing Rogue, in case you couldn't tell. Written by Kate Herron and Bryony Redmond, directed by Ben Chettle, and broadcast on the 8th of June 2024. I completely agree with you.
Yeah, good. Yeah, no, it's a lot more captivating. It's a lot more fun, and obviously, it's finally not a Doctor Light episode.
Yeah, I think that was one of the first things that I really got from this. It was like, oh, it's so nice to have him just front and center again. The Doctor is here. The Doctor is in, and it was it was really good fun. I didn't go much on it first time round. I don't know why. I think maybe I just wasn't in the right headspace for it. I don't know. Watching it again, I did enjoy it a lot more. It's good fun. Two of my housemates have both said that this felt like a proper sort of old RTD era kind of story. Just a good bit of, it's fun, but there's not much of a plot to it, but it's the characters stuff that really carries this, and I can get that. The Bridgerton setting is fun. I mean,
Yeah.
It's very big, Bridgerton. Like, I wonder if Disney had anything to say about the fact that they were sort of constantly name dropping, maybe one too many times for me personally. They're like one of their rivals' biggest shows.
Yeah.
Bridgerton is one of Netflix's biggest series, and I think there was probably a bit of hesitation there, but I'm sure there probably was pushback, and I think it's good to see that that wasn't pushed back, because it shows that the creative control is still within the production team here.
Yeah.
And that's nice. Passing notes back and stuff, that's fine,
Yeah.
A fresh pair of eyes on things is great.
You just want creative control.
Yeah.
To be with Doctor Who, like, you wouldn't expect Russell T Davies to start handing over, demanding changes on things like Star Wars and stuff.
Yeah, no,
that
exactly.
Disney are running, so.
And it's quite fun, the Bridgerton stuff, the fact that it's a parody within a parody of something that, as my housemate Dan pointed out, Bridgerton is almost quite parody-esque of that sort of era, not, because it's all turned up to 11 in Bridgerton, the balls and the parties and the scandals and all that, it's turned right the way. So it almost becomes a parody of itself, which Doctor Who then parodies, but that's all because the whole plot is around that they are aliens that are parodying the signals of Bridgerton.
Yes.
That's interesting. I mean, it's a fun little way of doing it.
It's different.
Production design on this, spectacular. Costumes and set dressing and all of that. It really, location work, it all just looked really lovely.
That's the thing. The BBC do really good work with historical stuff, and now they've got Disney's money as well.
Yeah, I don't think, I've never seen anything that the BBC have done where historical production design hasn't been great, even to like lower budget stuff, I think the BBC have got a track record with just making really solid historical dramas, or like just historical things in general. Whether or not narratively it works for you is all that's subjective, but I don't think anybody can look at this and go, God, look at those costumes, they were terrible, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. Muddy Gold.
Brilliant, as ever.
Yes. Couple of scenes, a couple of little motifs that were just a little bit too loud. I don't know if that was him or director or whoever, editor. There was just sort of, I remember there's one bit where Ruby's talking to the Duchess and she sort of leaves and walks out the way, and Ruby goes through the door and grabs a glass of wine, and it's like this big bit, and you're like, it's not that deep.
Yeah, it was just some like eerie music or like suspicious music or something would have a little bit toned down.
A bit more low-key, but...
I went into that thinking, oh, something big's going to happen now, and then it didn't until a bit later on.
It just didn't happen.
No.
Yeah. So, one thing I do really like about this era so far is that this episode is probably the most explicit use of the Sonic we've had so far, and in this it is used as a gadget. It's not used as a magic wand or a plot device or anything. It's there to be... It's a tool.
Yeah.
Which is what the Sonic should be there. Open as many doors as you like hack into any computers you want, blah, blah, blah. It's when it's just constantly, whipped out here and there.
Oh, look, air.
Yeah, there's oxygen here, yeah. I like the fact that there's a bit more on the Doctor to work stuff out, and it's not an over-reliance on stuff. And, we've seen things like the Devil's Cord where it gets overpowered by another force. and the Doctor has to then think on his feet, being like, "Oh, I don't know what to do." Ah.
Yeah, and in Boom, he doesn't even have the screwdriver on him at all. It was left in the TARDIS, and he was on that landmine.
Yeah, doesn't have it in Boom. Obviously, doesn't have it in 73 yards. Tiny bit in Dot and Bubble, but again, even that's just to mess around with the systems and stuff.
Yeah.
It's
not overly used.
Yeah, but Gatwa is on fine form this week. Mr. Gatwa is once again charismatic, funny, very doctory. Gets a couple of dark moments as well, which I quite like because we really haven't had a lot of that so far.
Not that rage, the anger of a good man sort of feel.
Yeah, and a few people sort of pointing out that it feels a bit out of character, and it's like I can see where you're coming from because it has been left quite late in the season, but it's not out of character for the Doctor. You know, he thinks Ruby's dead. Of course, he's going to be like, right, we're going to make these people pay. That's within character. If you've seen any episode or any series of any Doctors before, you'd know that is fully within the character.
Look at David Tennant's first run.
Yeah, exactly.
He slaughters a load of infantile Rachnos.
Yeah.
At Christmas. They're thinking, oh, it's Santa. Oh no, we're drowning.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have to follow that one up, to be honest.
But no, the line of 600 years is a long time to suffer.
Yeah.
Like, it's just little things like that with the rage.
Yeah, the fury of a Time Lord stuff just coming through a little bit. Jonathan Groff, what did you think of him?
I thought he was good fun. He did a brilliant job for me. I really enjoyed his work.
I think Jonathan Groff is one of those actors that I've seen be quite bombastic and sort of out there and do these big performances. And I think having him do this more understated thing, it just, I don't know, it fell a little bit flat for me. I'd have liked a little bit, because we don't really see him sort of say anything else that isn't on the same sort of tone until he's in the TARDIS. Everything else is very sort of one note. He's talking like this the whole time, and it's very like, you can tell that, I know it's to do with the fact that he's put up all these walls and everything, but I don't know, I'd have liked to see something a bit more quirky, I suppose, maybe. I don't know. I do love the design of his ship, Rogue ship. It's very sort of grungy, almost sort of a bit Millennium Falcon vibes inside. It's a big cluttered mess, basically.
Yeah, which the Doctor loves to point out.
I love that scene with the lip syncing and the Doctor just like trying to riz Rogue by doing a bit of the old Kylie lip syncing, and it's fun. And obviously, as per usual, something like this is going to upset all the right people, going, "Oh my God, Doctor Who's kissed a man."
Yeah.
Who the fuck cares? Do you know what I mean?
To be honest, it's already a more compelling relationship than the Doctor and Yaz.
Oh, but you can't possibly criticise that, because that just makes it just becomes like a boys versus girls. I've actually seen debates like that on Twitter going like, well, you can't.
Well, I am criticising that because I wasn't captivated by that until I generally.
It's almost like it was an afterthought.
Yeah.
It's almost like it wasn't the original plan, and it was done like halfway. What? Anyway, we're not here to drag other eras. We've done enough of that. I feel like we say that every week. But yeah, no, I think it was a sweet little. I think my only issue, and this isn't to do with the relationship between the Doctor and Rogue or anything, it's just this 45-minute pacing it doesn't work for Doctor Who anymore. Russell T Davies is saying all these things like, oh, you can't just do aliens invade a factory, blah blah blah. You can, but if he's saying all this, then you've still got things that limit you. And I think I've said this before. 45 minutes isn't long for a piece of like drama anymore, especially streaming stuff.
No, you need the BBC's never had adverts anyways for their shows.
No, exactly.
You kind of need that 55 to an hour 60-minute run time.
Yeah,
and even then, sometimes the stories don't feel as drawn out. But or if you're going to do the 45 minutes format, maybe split the episode instead of just cramming everything in and rushing along to the conclusion.
Yeah, I think if you look at the 4 specials we had last year, they're all pretty much perfectly paced. The Starbase was a little bit rushed towards the end, but that's because they had a little bit extra to fit in terms of the Doctor and Donna going off again. But the other 3, I didn't have issues with the pacing, at all. It all feels like there's it flows nicely. Whereas this, it's sort of like it builds it, and then it's like, oh God, we got 15 minutes, right? Okay, right. There's aliens. There's a wedding. Oh, Ruby might be dead. She's not dead. Oh, the Doctor and Rogue are having a snog. Oh my God, Rogue sacrificed it.
Spoilers.
Your own fault at this point. Why would you look at a review of something you haven't seen? It'd just be silly. But not that we're trying to turn more people away. Please stay, please. But yeah, I think it's a really sweet little story. I mean, it's quite nice to have the story just constructed around the relationship. It was very almost girl in the fireplace kind of thing. obviously, I haven't got an issue with the Doctor having a sort of gay relationship. It's going to happen. It does happen. You know, it's not trying to brainwash you, and it's not trying to turn your kids gay. People are gay. Get over it. It's not a big deal. There is still that part of me that does think that I prefer the Doctor to have no sort of romantic relationships with anyone. You know, straight or not, I'm not bothered. I've always been. I think that's the classic series fan in me, that it all just still feels a bit like it's sort of, you know, bending to modern telly and stuff, because there's always going to be some sort of romance. But I'm in the camp of, you give the companion the romances and you leave the Doctor to be the more sort of ethereal, mysterious figure. But you know, it's fine.
12 and Bill.
Yeah, well, that was different. I mean, what I mean is like.
No, I mean, like, you got the Doctor not have it. Like, he has that friendly relationship and that caring relationship with Bill, but Bill's the one that gets the romantic interest.
Yeah, stuff like that. You know, I think that's what it should be. But that's, you know, it's fine. I'm not saying I would never want to see the Doctor have in some sort of relationship. When it's done well, it's sound. You know, this episode on the whole was much better than last week. It's just, I enjoyed it. It's fine. I don't have any majorly strong feelings of it either way. There's bits of it I liked. Some stuff I didn't like. What were they thinking with the design of a couple of those bird creatures? Because I thought, like, the one on Indira Varma, who, by the way, was great throughout this, especially when she goes full on, what are they called again?
No,
That's
not
train.
yeah.
Shoulder.
Shoulder. Right.
Yeah, she's great when she does that. She's sort of giving, oh, he's too much of a coward, like all of that. That's really funny. But there was one of the aliens, with the blue one, is the one that sticks in my mind. It just looks like a Muppet. It's got
With the
big
really
round
long moustache.
Yeah, the big eyebrows and the moustache, and it's a big blue round head. It was just.
Today, Doctor Who does Sesame Street. That's fucking. I can do Elmo. Yay! No, stop.
You actually just said that. Well, that's one way of derailing a train of thought.
Oh, it's nice to have fun reviewing an episode again.
Yeah, but yeah, like I said, the format, I don't think it allows the relationship to naturally. I mean, obviously, it's going to be it's condensed, I think, rather than rushed. But the whole episode is rushed because there is part of me that goes, is a bounty hunter the kind of person the Doctor would go for? I mean, not bounty hunt, not like they're not all out to kill people and everything, but is that kind of the person the Doctor would be like, hey, I'll have a bit of him, he's a bit of all right?
Well, he might like a bad boy.
Well, clearly he does. And we're not here to judge, like I said, but
we can't shame people for their preferences.
Let 1,000 blossoms bloom. I'm not going to spend any more time talking about it, because every half an hour a man is torn to pieces by a crocodile in Western Australia. The impressions are coming out today. Yeah, I just think, I don't know, to me the Doctor is someone that wouldn't really go for a bounty hunter, but then I suppose maybe the Doctor's reflected past this bi-generation thing. The cosplay stuff, that was a bit strange.
Yeah.
Different, I'll give it that, but I don't know, when there's that line where Indira Varma's bird lady is like, we're going to cosplay this planet to death, I was like, oh, you were doing so well.
Yeah, that was
It was a bit cringe.
Yeah, that was the main thing, was I really enjoyed this episode anyway, but that was the bit that brought it down for me, was they're cosplaying. It's like, oh, really?
I sort of get that as an analogy, but then when it becomes like...
it's just the repeated use of it. It's just like...
Yeah.
Oh, come on. You're better than this.
There were a couple of scenes as well where I noticed that the Cholders, when they're in full bird head, they've still got human arms. You could see, like, on the Duchess, between, like, her sleeve and her glove, it's just a human arm. And it's like, did you just go, here, look at this cool head, and then forget to do the rest of it? Like, that was just a bit bizarre.
Maybe they can only... I don't know.
But then you see it later on,
because...
They see it
like a costume, though, don't they? So maybe, like, they have got their... If you see their full bird form, even with the dress, it might be, like, nudity or something. Or they're wearing the person as a skin, as like the Slovene.
Maybe,
wear them as a costume.
Yeah.
So that's what I would say.
That's a good point. That is a good point. I just sort of saw it as, did they just forget to do some more prosthetics and stuff? Another thing, again, this is to do with the pacing of the whole series more than anything. The flashback after the Doctor thinks he's lost Ruby to Carla and him having that conversation, why was that not in an episode? Why is it taking us this long to see the Doctor and Carla having an interaction after she knows everything and all that? We haven't seen any of that. It just happens in this flashback, and she's like, "You'll keep us safe," and he's like, "Yeah, I promise." Again, great score by Murray Gold, great acting. You know, it's a nicely written scene as well. Great bits of dialogue in there, but it just to have it just put as a flashback in the middle of it, it just feels really bizarre.
Yeah, I feel it makes sense as to why, because obviously something traumatic's happened and the Doctor's remembering the promise he made to her mother.
Yeah, I don't mind that so
But
much as a flashback.
It needs to be. It needed to come up maybe like the second episode, because after Space Babies, the Doctor wrecks Carla's house with his TARDIS.
Yeah.
No doubt about that. Like that, he's destroyed their roof and they only live in the attic. Like he's wrecked their house. That thing is a bird's nest now. And
They got Dan Lewis round.
yeah,
Plaster.
but like the next episode along, I'd expect to have that Ruby pack, like with Rose, Ruby packing her stuff up,
Yeah.
getting ready to leave and going on an adventure, and Carla stopping the Doctor as she's run off into the TARDIS or something and being like, "Oh look, just make sure she's okay."
I feel like what we haven't had is that sort of contemporary sci-fi story where we see the family, like, you know, look at something like Aliens of London, where Rose's family, and then the Lazarus Experiment, where Martha's family learn about, and then like Sontaran two-parter in Series 4, where like Sylvia and Wilf get to grips with it a bit more. We haven't seen that for Cherry yet. She had this whole 73 yards thing, but that was an aborted timeline anyway.
Yeah.
So we haven't actually seen them react to it. They've just gone, yeah, well, this is happening. She's off with an alien. There's aliens about. That's all cool. But we haven't... And I just feel like that's such a crucial thing as establishing like Ruby and the family dynamic of the Sundays. It just... Not the lesser-known pop group. You know, it just doesn't really... I don't know. It just doesn't gel properly. It really sticks out like a sore thumb, that flashback. As well acted and well scored and written as it is, it does make you go, yeah, we should have seen something like this by now.
Yeah,
Because we shouldn't need to have that as a flashback in the first place. We should know that the Doctor is going to be devastated, not because he's lost Ruby, but also because he's broken his promise to Carla and Cherry. You know, it just doesn't...
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it makes sense, but it doesn't at the same time.
Yeah, no, exactly. What else did I like about this episode? I mentioned the Kylie thing, didn't I?
Yes. That was good fun, though. That was such a good scene, and he just kept switching it on with his screwdriver.
Yeah.
I did love that rundown of all the Doctors as well.
How could I forget that?
Yeah, so I'd forgotten until I'd mentioned about the Doctor with his screwdriver. So like to say, look, I'm not one of these alien guys. I am an alien, but I'm not a bad one. He's like, look, I'm a Time Lord, and then you get the hologram of all the faces going around. I think I saw Scream of the Shelka Doctor as well.
Yep, Richard E. Grant is in there.
Yeah.
How that works, no one knows, but it's a fun little...
It's canon now.
There's all these people arguing, is it Fatal Death, is it Shalka? If it's Fatal Death, why is it not all the other Fatal Death Doctors? And you just think, that is in there, it's a tiny little in-joke for the fans, do you know what I mean? That's in there for people like me and you that know Scream of the Shalka. Other people watching that are not going to care. You know, I had to point out to Michael, for example, that Richard E. Grant was in there. He was like, okay, why? And I was like, don't worry about it.
Yeah, I saw something as well. It was like Richard E. Grant was a face of Oscar nominees who appeared in Doctor Who. I think it was on Pointless or something. And they used Great Intelligence and Dr. Solomon.
Well, that was the other thing people were saying. Was this like a great intelligence interference that sort of like still registers somewhere? But that doesn't make any sense because the whole point is that Clara went in there to undo all of the undoing, and but it's Schalke, you know. It's just a fun little callback. It's an alternative universe type thing, parallel universe, and we see Joe Martin in there as well, which is cool. I just think that was a really fun little callback. I love things like that though. Those are my like favourite types. Well, I say favourite types. I want everyone to return every week, but like little episodes like that where you're not expecting it to go here. We are still thinking about the fans who have been here from the start and are very invested in like the history of the show.
11th Hour was brilliant with that. Yeah, I really enjoyed the Next Doctor wasn't the best Cyberman story ever, but like that bit with all the faces of the Doctor showing up. Which
is the first one to really explicitly link the new series and the old series, because it's the first time there's ever like archived material used rather than drawings or references. Yeah. Which is a fun little trivia fact for you there, fact fans. Ruby, gets a little bit sidelined in this, but she still has some great moments. I love the battle mode earrings. I love the earrings idea that it beams choreography into your head and everything, and it just means they can pick it up quickly and blend in quicker. That was a cool little gadget. But the battle mode stuff was fun, including the full on and I like as well Bridgerton references. I've seen Bridgerton, unfortunately, and never will again. But there's a lot of use of popular music, like modern music, all covered on like strings and orchestral pieces, and they do that in this as well to like sort of further that parody thing. So that was a fun little reference. If you haven't seen Bridgerton, they were like, oh, because I know that a few people like Liam messaged me and was like, why are they playing Billie Eilish on strings? And I was like, it's a thing from Bridgerton. But yeah, no, the fighting seems cool. She gets some cool lines, you know, that you're not a tall glass of heartbreak, you're just half a pint of shandy. I will not take shandy slander. There's nothing better on a Sunday afternoon in the sun with a nice pint of shandy. Especially if you've had about 27 beers the night before.
Yeah. Hear the dog.
This is not a medical advice podcast, by the way.
Yeah, no, do not. If you've got a problem, do not do that.
Do not come to us for any of that.
Please,
I mean,
please
look at us.
don't.
We're
Go
pictures of
seek
health.
professional help.
Yes, and don't come to us.
We'll meet you down the pub and get you onto the next one.
As long as you're of drinking age, obviously.
Yes. For legal reasons.
And moral reasons, really.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I just think this was good. It was a good, fun little episode. You know, I like I said, first time round, I was a bit like, yeah, it was fine. I didn't really have much of a strong reaction to it, really. I think I was more in a mood because my Indian takeaway was just very disappointing. So that sort of ruined the vibe for me. How do you get a tandoori chicken right? Anyway, I was just getting off track here. But watching it again, it's good fun. I feel like it's one of those episodes that you could put on if you just want something nice, like a nice, fun little episode to watch. You don't want to think too hard about it. This episode isn't particularly challenging. You know, it gives the Doctor a couple of dark moments, like we said, and it's definitely set up for Rogue to come back. I would be very surprised if we get to the end of Shooty Gatwa's tenure and we haven't seen Rogue again. Yeah, well,
we did do that old Find Me stuff, so I reckon we're going to see him again. I hope we do, because he was a fun character for me. I enjoyed him.
Yeah, it's a bit Captain Jack in a way, and I'm glad he wasn't a recast Captain Jack though, because it would have been so stupid.
But it's more refreshing than a recast Captain Jack.
Yeah, you just do a new character like they've done here, like bounty hunter, time agent, blah blah blah. You know, that's fine. If they get Rogue back, I want there to be a bit more of zing from Jonathan Groff, because a lot of it fell very flat in terms of delivery for me. It just didn't really. I wasn't really that invested until past the point of the TARDIS. And that's one more thing I will mention. Well done to actually having some scenes in the TARDIS, because we haven't seen it for 3 weeks. They've got that lovely, beautiful set, and we've barely seen the thing.
Yeah, this is true. I reckon we're going to see a lot of it in the next 2 episodes.
Good, because it's a lovely set, and they should be, you know, plentiful with it. Not scarcely, you know, boom, we see it on the what do you call it, the volume screen. Don't see it at 73 yards, don't see it in dot and bubble. So finally, after weeks, we finally get some scenes in the TARDIS, and it's a lovely TARDIS.
It really is.
So yeah, that's my thoughts on Rogue. Romance is dead.
Well, we did miss the point where the Doctor nearly killed Ruby.
That is true, yeah. I mean, I think as soon as she sort of makes it clear that he was never going to do it. Again, with the crying thing, I'm worrying now that
it's too much.
Like the fact that the Doctor is, you know, very not very emotional, but you know what I mean. Like he's able to process his emotions a bit more, like we would, for example. That works. But having him crying every episode, like, not saying it's never justified. Like last week, for example, absolutely. But having him crying every episode, it just sort of, I don't want it to go too far into that, God, he's crying again, because then you're doing more damage. And again, I feel like I've said this before as well, but like, even the boys, when we were watching it, was like, oh, he cries a lot, doesn't he, this Doctor? And it's like, yeah, I get it. You should absolutely be showing the fact that and you know, it's good, because I think it will, having a positive male role model on screen who's crying and being able to feel comfortable.
It's a good message.
It's a great message, but if you overdo it, you step into that, God, this is the Doctor that cries all the time kind of thing, and you don't want that to be the thing. You just want it to be the Doctor that, you know, is comfortable in expressing his emotions. But
I mean, he is justified in this one because he's got he thought Ruby had died.
Well, yeah, this is what I mean. I'm not saying it's not ever justified, but doing it all the time. I feel like this time you could have done a bit more. There should have been a bit more rage than full-on upset at the start. You know, have a bit of upset towards the end, maybe after he loses Rogue. and all that. And I thought the whole point of the bi-generation was supposed to be that the Doctor isn't going to be all like, right, well, anyway, moving on. Like, the whole point now is that this is supposed to be him dealing with things. And I like the fact that it's Ruby sort of goes, like, you know, she straight away is like, right, stop it, because you need a hug and all that. And, you know, I liked that. That was cool on Ruby's part. But for the Doctor, it's just like, we just had the whole bi-generation thing was your way of sort of baggage dumping and being like, ah, right. But if you start bottling all the stuff up again, it's like, it just defeats the point, really. Maybe that's just me.
No, I know what you mean. But let's see what happens anyways in the next 2 episodes.
Looking forward to it. We've got our cinema tickets booked for the finale.
Yes, we
I'm
do.
on a works do that evening, so that could be quite interesting. I only found that out the other day. Will is getting drunk in Cardiff in the afternoon and evening, and then we'll be going to the cinema, probably half cut.
I might join you on that. I'll come park up here, get half cut with the boys. We'll all get a little bit tiddly.
Yeah.
And get a taxi down.
Stay tuned for how that will go. But yeah.
Review straight out.
So it was the best thing in the world.
Oh my god, it was amazing.
Yeah, that was all I have on Rogue. Is there anything else you can think of?
No, I think we've touched all the bases. It was nice just to have an enjoyable episode again. I mean, at 73 yards was enjoyable, but you had to think about what was going on.
I loved it.
I know, I'm not saying I didn't love it.
Oh, I really
loved it. It was like, I loved it, even though I don't normally like the ones where you got to sit down and think about everything that's going on.
I had to explain everything that was going on to him.
You shut up.
He has no idea what I just said.
Yeah, I heard you, prick. But like this one, it's nice to have a fun episode where you can switch your head off a bit.
I think it was needed because the last couple of episodes have been a bit heavy. You know, if you look at Boom is quite intense, 73 yards is a lot of thinking, Dot and Bubble is just bleak for what happens to the Doctor. It's also half an hour from the shittest Doctor I've ever seen. So I think it was quite nice to just have a bit of a standard run around, and nice to have a sort of actual alien threat for the first time in the series as well. You know, we've had the Bogeyman, but that's made up of bogies, and then there's the God of Music, and then ambulances, and cosplaying aliens is now the norm. But we will just have to wait and see for next week. I'm very excited. Very excited. And we'll be back.
Next week?
Yeah, I meant to say next week. I don't know why I stopped that sentence mid-flow for some reason. I'm tired.
You and me both. But if
Sirloin.
you... But let us know your thoughts on the episode as well. Did you like it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? That's the one I was going for originally, but I said love it instead, but we move. Yeah, let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like the video, share the video, and subscribe as well, as it helps it out. What the hell are you doing?
Peace.
You child.
I'm peacing out. Carry on.
He was dropped on his head as a baby, I'm convinced. Ta-ra.